Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more content like this. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing another K-drama review. So to give you an outline on the K-dramas that we'll be talking about, let me just pull up my list. Oh my god, Wi-Fi, so slow. By the way, I don't know what I'm doing sitting here filming this video when I have so many stuff to do. Actually, I've got two big things to do, which is to study for my French quiz, which is on participe passé, or participe passé, yeah, okay, which is basically like past tense, but also with another, it's grammar, French grammar. And then I've also got an English outline due, but we're going through it. Today was a hard day. I've just been doing so many things. I like practiced my flute, and then what did I do in the middle? I cleaned my room. Yeah, okay. Anyway, the K dramas that we will be reviewing today is Woori the Virgin, Once Upon a Small Town, Big Mouth, and Level Up Project, and then finally, not really a K drama, more like a movie, 20th Century Girl. That one is all the hot topic right now, or maybe a past, kind of past maybe. But if you haven't watched it, and I'll also be rating these, which is a big portion of these videos. So I'm gonna give it a number out of 10. And yeah, let's begin. Not gonna lie, it's been a really long time since I've watched some of these K dramas. They're all in order of what I watched them from. So let's just start with the oldest one that I watched, which is Woori the Virgin. And I'm pretty sure I watched this about a month ago, so spare me the details. I mean, not spare me the details, spare me if I don't exactly give you guys a wonderful review of the K-drama. But I always write down notes so I don't forget anything, and it'll come back to me. Okay, so I was aware that the show was already a thing because this isn't like a new K-drama or anything, but I mean, I guess it's kind of new. It's like a 2022 drama, I think. But I was aware of its existence, but one day I just found a TikTok or an Instagram reel on it, and I was like, hey, why not watch this? I don't know why I decided to watch it because I feel like mainly it's because the main character, so Woori, the girl that plays Woori, really, really looks like this girl from Penthouse. I think you know who I'm talking about, but they really look similar. So I initially thought that was her, and then I gained interest, and then I ended up watching it. And turns out the actual girl from the K drama, not the girl from Penthouse, is also from my Gangnam ID, the one that Chaonu is in, and I've actually never watched that. Let me know if it's good. I've heard some not so good things about it, but who knows? Maybe you guys think it's really good. Okay, so I've actually never watched Jane the Virgin, which is what this is based off of. So it's almost like a Korean remake, you can think of it as. It follows a similar plot, but also not at the same time. You'll see. Like the ending is a little bit different, so I feel like it's a little bit better because I didn't watch it, so I'm kind of starting it off fresh rather than knowing the show in advance and kind of comparing the two, which can kind of be a headache when you're trying to compare two things that are both just supposed to be works of art. And yeah, I didn't watch it before, and I do kind of wonder what the main differences are or why the director decided to change a couple of things, but I'll never know. And I also know that Jane the Virgin, I mean, I didn't know this before, but after watching this K drama, I figured out that Jane the Virgin is also based off of another drama, which I think is crazy. So this is really a remake of a remake. Who knows? Maybe there'll be another remake. So when, sorry, it smells like really good food. I think my mom's making chili. Okay, so I honestly, now getting into the actual plot of the K drama, I thought the very first boyfriend of Uri was a little too nice and a little bit unrealistic. Here, let me pull up the K drama names, I guess, so that I don't reference them as Uri's boyfriend. That can be confusing. Okay. Um, oh yes, Dong-hyuk. No, not Dong-hyuk, Dong-uk. Dong-uk is the current boyfriend. So Dong-uk is a little bit nice, and it was a little bit suspicious because mostly people that are like a little bit over nice can be a little bit suspicious when it comes to trust, and they probably have like another like thing in mind. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. My scalp is so itchy and I don't even know why. I like just showered. Okay. And this drama, it seems very lighthearted in general, but it kind of catches you off guard with the I guess it's very realistic, is what I can say. So it kind of catches you off guard in terms of the emotions that it brings, and it's honestly some parts are quite sad, and they are situations that can happen in real life. So it kind of catches you. So the general plot line, if you've never watched Teen Diversion, is about this girl who is a virgin because of her religion or her grandmother's religion. But one day she finds out that she's pregnant. But it turns out there's like a problem with the medical system, so it technically wasn't her fault at all. But then there's another couple, and basically the sperm from them went to like Jane or Uri in this case, Uji, the combination, the ship name. Anyway, yeah, that's how it goes, and it's basically about her life and how that plays out, whether she decides to keep the baby or not, whether she decides to stay with her current boyfriend or move on to the guy that's basically the father of the baby that she's pregnant with. Anyway, episode 2 was really, really sad because basically the mom of Woody is a little bit irresponsible, you could say, and she's kind of like a party girl. She has a really long dream to be an idol, but she's also really old, so everyone tells her it's very unrealistic, but she keeps chasing it. And because of that, she almost neglects her role as a mother. But the part where Uri asks her mother why did she even decide to keep her, like why did she decide to stay a mother essentially, is the part where it's really, really sad. I feel like it's just like, I've never been in that situation myself, but I feel like it really depicts that circumstance really well and almost puts you in their shoes. And the emotions are just really relatable. Not gonna lie, the acting is not that amazing. So if you're really watching for good acting, probably not the best show. But I feel like the plot is simple to follow along. It's very lighthearted. It's a fun K drama overall. Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. Raphael gets introduced in the first few episodes, and Raphael is the guy that basically she got the sperm from without her consent. Yeah. So he's like this, stereotypical rich CEO man. He speaks English. I think he like graduated from a really well-known university or something like that. But I am not a big fan of Raphael. Oh my God, wait! I've been saying the actor's name for the Udi's boyfriend. Sorry, his name is Kang Jae. How did I forget that? Yeah, okay, no. The current boyfriend, let's just get this straight, is Kang Jae, and then Raphael is, the guy that gets introduced just now. And honestly, at first I was just like, oh my God, I can't tell if he's like a genuinely nice dude or he's hiding something behind. And I was on the side that he was hiding something behind because he was also sus. Like the characters in this K drama are really hard to tell. And I don't know if it's because of their acting that it's hard to read their true emotions, or maybe that's because of the kind of like the sense of the plot itself, because we're not supposed to like trust one of the characters or not. I feel like I will give it away. Usually I don't give things away unless I say spoiler warning. This isn't really like a spoiler. This is just my opinions on the characters. But yeah, I just thought it was really weird how both of the male leads in this K drama are okay people. Typically, they're kind of foils of each other, like character foils. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically meaning that they're in contrast to one another and they have different personalities, different looks, different sense of self, essentially. And yeah, it's a little unbelievable, and I guess it's good that she has these like supportive people surrounding her, from the two main leads, first of all, her family. I feel like that's really nice. And it was really, really sad when the dad accepted like everything, like all of his faults, because the dad, now here we go, there's a lot of characters actually that are quite significant to the plot. But basically the party mom, she also has an ex-husband, you could say. Well, I mean, not husband, actually, they never married. Basically the father of Uri, they used to be a thing together, but then the mom got pregnant and basically he left, is how you're supposed to see it as so far in the plot. But basically, obviously he made a big mistake of leaving his girl when she's literally pregnant with a child, and I'm pretty sure he told her to abort the child, but I could be wrong. But he was like not a good character back then. But he gets introduced later on when he's, older, and obviously, no, actually, he's also a singer. Like he became a singer somehow. So that's that. And sorry, these notes are like all over the place. So if I'm saying things are all over the place, which isn't really new, that's the case. And Kang Jae, let's talk about him, the current boyfriend. He starts to lose touch out of all of the characters, almost like Woori basically, because she starts to get closer to Raphael, and he gets a little bit jealous. I mean, she's or he's her girl boyfriend. He's her boyfriend, so obviously things are gonna be a little bit weird. But yeah, and I really feel bad for him. I'm so on Team Kangjae over Team Raphael because Raphael, there's something really really sus about him. Sorry. Okay, anyway, yeah. So there's a little bit sus, and the music choice in the drama is a little bit weird. I feel like this isn't the best produced K drama overall, and considering how it kind of flopped, I can kind of see. But like, they break up, like Kang Jae and oh, was that a spoiler? I mean, yeah. I mean, I always give spoilers, so spoiler. Yeah, Kang Jae and Woori break up at one point, but it's not really a spoiler because that doesn't really have much thickness to the plot, you could say. There's a lot more things that go on later. Who knows? They might be back together. They might not be back together. And it's just weird because they break up and then they play this really upbeat song from Jessie. And if you know Jessie's music, her song is not really suitable for breakup. I mean, her most popular songs, but it gives that vibe too. So it's a little bit weird. Odd choices within the K drama, and it's not the most high quality of the K drama. So yeah, and yeah. There's this part where Uri just gets really mad and just really emotional for no reason. And I feel like, yeah, you could justify it by saying that she's pregnant. Sure, but I feel like that's not really the case. Because she suddenly hates her boyfriend, her current boyfriend, Kang Jae, for I don't even remember what, but she gets really mad, and that makes me angry because Kang Jae does nothing wrong really. He's like almost a little too perfect. He has no character flaws, which is a little bit odd, but that's the case for him. And she suddenly hates him, and then she suddenly breaks up, like I already said. And I feel like the only reasoning I can think of this is because for the benefit, I can't talk, benefit of the storyline. And this seems to be the sense in a lot of K dramas that aren't well produced or known for amazing story writing, and that's kind of an example of that. And there's a lot of comments that I saw that said that they don't really have the best chemistry, they don't get along very well, their communication is lacking, and there's like just one like factor that's missing. But I really ship them a lot. You know, I feel like they are endgame for me. I really don't like Raphael and Uri, and if you ask me why, I'm just gonna say that that guy has something hiding, and you know, that's what I thought essentially. But I'm not gonna say if he does hide something eventually or not. And yeah, but the acting is a little bit questionable. The crying scenes, I just can't relate to it because they're crying, but it also looks like they're laughing and just like forcing it out of them. So it's not like the best acting out there, and I've actually heard that a lot about this K drama. So I know that I'm not alone in this, I guess. So, what? There's this thing about another character. Oh, oh! I can't believe I didn't talk about this character. Okay, so remember Raphael? Of course, you guys do. So Raphael has I think, probably a wife or girlfriend. I don't know. Basically, her name is Body, and basically they want to get a child, and that's why they went to the hospital, but it accidentally transferred to Uri, and she was just doing a checkup. But anyway, there's this girl named Mari, and she is also a rich kind of girl, and her mother is so toxic. Oh my goodness. Like, she is all for manipulating people so that they can get more benefit out of it, more money out of it. That's kind of what they stand for. However, I really, really did not like Mari in the beginning because she just has an overall bad attitude and she's not very caring to others. She only thinks about herself, and the reason why she wanted to have the child with Raphael in the first place is so that basically she can inherit, I think, a company later on. I'm pretty sure that's the case. But basically, she just wanted to like almost blackmail him and just be really, really manipulative. And I originally thought, oh my god, what a bad person. But if you think about it more, it's really her mother manipulating her and just being really toxic. She's almost being gaslighted to only do the wrong thing for her own benefit, for her own good. And I think that's really sad because she doesn't really get a sense of say in what she wants to do, and her entire life has been driven by her mother and this toxic thinking. So it's really not her fault, but at the same time, is it? I feel like that's up to you to decide. For me, I eventually got to the fact that, she does deserve a little bit more leeway into things because she doesn't necessarily want to do this, but she has to. It's kind of the vibe that I get. And this is kind of later on in the show, but initially I was on the side that Mari is not a good character. Okay, so you guys know I hate subplots or just plots that don't match with the genre. So if I'm watching like a really humorous thing and then I suddenly get like horror, I'm not into that thing. And this was the case with this K drama. I said that it was a very lighthearted K drama, but there's also a lot of mystery in the fact that who killed this dude. Basically that's like a subplot, and I don't even want to explain it because it's just that boring. And Kangjae, his role, or I guess his job, is a detective, and there's like a huge subplot that surrounds that, and the ending isn't even good as to the subplot, like who killed who. It just isn't interesting at all, and they added that and it fills up a lot of time, so I was just like skip for the entirety of it. So if you hate boring subplots, maybe this isn't the one for you. And like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Raphael, and he's just a little bit cringe. There's this one part when he's basically almost proposing or just, confessing his love to Woori, and he plays the piano, he dances very extravagantly, and it's just so cringe. It's just so not my thing. He's very like stereotypical man, stereotypical boyfriend, and I don't know, for me it just feels like something's off. There's just something a little bit too cookie cutter kind of vibes around him. It just seems a little too perfect, and the way he does it is not very, I don't know, it's just very cringe is the only way I can describe it. He just seems like a Wattpad character. Okay, like think of it this way. Raphael prioritizes his baby because basically it is his last sperm because he's also sick. There's a lot of subplots. Okay, but yeah, he prioritizes the baby over Woori. Like, he could literally be like, okay, I'm gonna let the baby survive even though the baby is just like a fetus. Not even a fetus at this point. Like, her stomach never grows in the entire show, I don't think. I think at the very end it does, but before that, not at all. And Kangjae prioritizes Woori over the baby, which I think makes more sense. Who in the right mind would prioritize a fetus over, I don't know, a 20, 30-year-old woman? It just doesn't make sense. And I feel like this is just like moral. So if you disagree with me, go for it. But this is kind of my own opinion. So I feel like the K-drama itself is quite short with 15 episodes, which is kind of the reason why I watched it. Like, if a K-drama has over 25 episodes or even over 20, it's kind of borderline long, and it's crossing the line a little bit. So it's not the most favorable thing, but there's a lot of disappointment surrounding the show because the ending wasn't the way they thought it would be. And here's a spoiler for you. Woori gets with Kangjae, which, yay, I was actually not expecting that. I thought she would get with Raphael, but suddenly she changes back to Kangjae. So there you go. Good for me, but I was honestly like, wait, what? Because I was so certain that she would end up with Raphael, and then she ends up with Kangjae, which I don't really get. The writers were kind of lacking at that part. They should have driven us towards the fact. Maybe they were trying to make like a plot twist, but at the same time, it's not really like a plot twist because we know she's going to end up with either of the guys or even single. So a lot of people were actually rooting for Raphael. I feel like I'm the odd one out, rooting for Kangjae, or they wanted her to be alone and basically without any of the guys, really. And I feel like that would have been an amazing ending as well. Any ending without Raphael is kind of what I was looking for. And I did get that. However, the K-drama was just so steered towards Raphael and steered against Kangjae because there's also another love interest that Kangjae has in his role as a detective, and it's kind of like his coworker. I thought they were going to end up together, but I guess not, which is amazing. And that's not how it works because in the end, basically they all are one big family. Yay. I was honestly hoping for just Kangjae, but we can't get everything that we want. Or even her being solo with her like parents, or like with her parents and then her grandmother. That would be nice too. But yeah, I feel like 14 episodes were dragged out long. It could have really just been like 5 to 10, somewhere in the range, 7 even. Cut it down by half, cut the entire subplot. But that's just me. Yeah, I feel like that's actually a lot of people as well, but for me, that's the case. Okay, so I'm gonna give that drama probably 5 out of 10. A solid 5 out of 10. I know I said a lot of bad things, but there's also some enjoyable parts as well, like the relationship between the mother and then the singer, the popular singer, I guess the father, but they're not really like dating or anything. That part is really fun. And I don't know, it's just like an overall good drama to watch, but if you've got a lot of things to say, maybe not. So we're gonna move on to the next K drama, which is Once Upon a Time. Oh my god, I need water. I always forget to bring water. And I always say water. Water. I don't know. Okay, so Once Upon a Time, Once Upon a Small Time is a K-drama with Joy, and that's the reason why I watched it. Let's be real, I didn't know about this K-drama until Joy was on it, or in it. So it kind of feels boring at first, but it's truly just like a casual, very chill, very laid back, kind of like a slice of life K-drama almost, and I guess slice of life means more meaningful ones, but this one isn't necessarily meaningful, but it more so depicts like true reality, you know? And it's set in a very small town, and the plot is that basically Joy's character, she is in a small town, she has a police there, but she basically owns this town because she, reports missing people. She goes to solve things. If like a chicken is sick, she's the one that gets called for some reason. That's the case. Basically, this follows the we were childhood friends kind of trope, and like there's a lot of tropes like this in K-dramas where basically they knew each other at one point, but they don't recognize each other now until they recognize it. It's kind of the thing. But yeah, there's this main character, and I'm gonna pull up their names because yet again, I'm not gonna be remembering it. And this one is actually fairly new-ish. I don't know. It's more in my memory than the other one. So, yeah, Joy's character is called Chayoung, and I kind of find it funny because it's almost like a combination of her Korean name, like her actual name, and then her stage name, Joyyoung, Suyong, Jayoung. Okay. So there is this guy who arrives in this small town, and his name is Chayul, or Jiul, sorry. Why can't I say these? Hanjiul. Yeah, so it's Jiul. And then Joy also has a friend that she's basically just been growing up with, and he is also a resident of the small town. He is like a peach farmer, and his name is Hanghyun. So there are the three main characters, love triangle. You guys know I hate love triangles, but we've got to stick through it. So initially I did not like the male lead. And you could say like the main male lead is more so towards Jiur than Sanghyun. So more so towards the new guy rather than the old childhood friend. So I guess they're all childhood friends if you think about it in relation to the female character, but you get the point. So there's the childhood friend and then there's the main lead. Like the childhood friend as in like they've been friends in the small town forever. Yeah. There's just a lot of small town aspects to it. So maybe if you are familiar with that lifestyle, I feel like this would be an amazing K-drama for you because this is almost relatable. These situations happen on a day-to-day basis. But there's this part when, spoiler but not really, when this cow dies. Oh my goodness, I cried a lot. There's a lot of farm animals as well. And I feel like that's really impressive because it's so hard to get animals to cooperate with you on set, and the way they did that is amazing. There's a lot of parts where I think it was like a pig birthing. I don't know, there's crazy stuff in there. But the cinematography is quite good. However, it's not the most interesting plot, you can say. It's very slow paced. It's not action, action, action. It's more oh, here's our lives today. It's kind of like that. So, there's this girl from today's webtoon, and if you guys watched the previous K-drama review, you'll see that I watched today's webtoon as well. And basically, she was like a webtoon artist, but now in here is Chiyo's girlfriend. And reminder, Chiyo is basically just Chiyo is the guy who came from Seoul, so not the small town guy. Anyway, there's this scene where in episode 10 where the peaches fall on both of them, like Chiyo and Joy. And it's just like so funny. Like their attempt at romance is just almost frustrating in a sense that they don't get anywhere quickly enough. But at the same time, if you like slow paced kind of romances, I feel like this one is the one for you. And almost it's like enemies to lovers because initially they don't like each other, and he finds her way too overbearing, and he doesn't understand why she's basically controlling every aspect of the town. And yeah, they are quite the enemies at first. And then in the last two episodes, they're suddenly lovers. Obviously, that's quite expected. So she doesn't get with the childhood friend, actually, even though both the guys do have crushes on her, which is kind of sad. I honestly don't like love triangles for this exact reason because it's just sad to one person at least, you know, unless they have a polygamy. But I don't think that's going to happen in a K-drama anytime soon. Okay, so I was actually really sure like the person that was in today's webtoon, so Chiyo's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend would be like a really bad person, like an antagonist. However, it's not the case. Yeah, like she's just a completely normal person. In fact, she's very nice as well. And I feel like it's to show that like Joy's character, Chaeyoung, initially kind of hated her for the reason that she was his ex, but at the same time they become roommates and they become friends. Yeah. And it's really like a cliche and overused storyline. You know, like it's not the best script writing, and I feel like that's like the common denominator for these. If you guys have K-dramas where the script writing is really amazing, let me know. The two ones that follow this are really writing. So I kind of start off with the worst ones, I guess you could say, and then I'm building up to it. So wait. Okay, so there's this part where they just start dating out of nowhere, and it's just so bad, so unexpected, and in not a good sense. It's just like, what? Suddenly? Like, did I miss something? That kind of vibe. So yeah, like they have constant flirting, and it almost goes from like way too enemies to way too lovers. Like there's no happy medium, and I feel like that happy medium is crucial for every relationship. However, this is a K-drama and it doesn't portray realistic aspects of relationships. Okay, so I honestly do like the second couple better, which is basically the friend of the main character, friend of Chiyu, and then friend of Chaeyoung, or coworkers, I guess. If you watch the K-drama, you'll know that there is a second couple, and honestly, they don't get a lot of screen time, but they're just more enjoyable. And typically, I like the main lead couples more than the side lead couples, but that was just the case for me. Like everyone loves the side couple in Business Proposal, but for me, the main couple is just anyway. Yeah, and then they get married. Or I guess there's like a proposal at the very last episode. Way too early in my opinion, but who asked for my opinion, you know? Yeah. Um Oh yeah, and then the childhood friend who doesn't get with Joy, but still he's thriving because he owns a business, or he creates a business where, you know how he had that peach farm? He basically makes that into an experience kind of thing where people can come into the peach farm, pay obviously, and then like have a peach farm picking experience. I don't know how to call it, like apple picking, but peach picking. But yeah, it's very smart. On a business perspective, I rate this a 9 out of 10 because he could have done it earlier. Speaking of business, my grade kept changing today. Oh my god. It was so blur. But would you look at this? 98, babes. Woo! 98. Actually, there's other grades as well, 94s. But if you average out, I'm sure it'll be like 96. So it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Yeah. Where were we? Oh yeah, everyone complains about endings, but this one for this K-drama specifically was actually pretty solid. And everyone seems to agree as well, so I'm glad about that. And although a season 2 would be nice, I would still see it, but I feel like it would be a little bit repetitive, and I just hope it isn't as slow. And honestly, this K-drama kind of flopped, so I don't think we're coming back with a season 2. But if I were to rate this, I would probably give it a 6.5 out of 10 or 6. But then it kind of compares to Uri the Virgin, and Uri the Virgin is way down there, and then Once Upon a Small Town is higher. 6.5 it is. Yeah, okay. And then the next one, we're suddenly changing genres here. We're going into Big Mouth. And now, Big Mouth was such a popular K-drama, I think, in the past few months. And for good reason, I think. The filming style, the directing is amazing here. Like, and the plot is amazing as well. However, it really was not my thing, is what I want to say, because it's a lot of mystery. They're finding out who Big Mouth is. Basically, Big Mouth is this bad guy, you could say. And it's honestly really sad as well, especially if you get to the ending and you're really emotionally connected to the characters. I found that really, really upsetting. But yeah, it's kind of like a law drama as well, law and mystery. And, it's not my thing. You guys know I like more so romance, lighthearted dramas. So if you're into that, maybe don't watch because it killed me a little. So it also had Yuna in it, so Yuna from Girls' Generation. So obviously I said why not, because she is so pretty, so talented, and a lot of people hated her acting in K2. Never watched it, don't know, but her acting here is amazing. Like, it's so good, and a lot of people said she improved, which I'm so happy to hear, because she just really is good at acting, even though she doesn't have like a significant portion of the drama, you could say. It's more so about the guy. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the guy's name, which is bad because I literally watched this like a month ago. I should be knowing who's who and what their name is. Oh yes, Changho. Changho is the guy. And then Biho is, oh, they both end in ho's. Okay, yeah. Biho is the girl, Yuna basically. And that is that. Okay, so I love her character, by the way. She's so girl boss. She really speaks her mind at some points where I'm like, girl, just shut up. This is not the time for you to speak. But she really says what she's got to say. Such a girl boss. We love her for that. You guys know girl boss female main lead characters are my favorite, and this is the case here. Yeah, I also really, really like the main lead as well, the male lead. And he's really, really cute. And then his personality suddenly changes, which I think was a little bit odd. There's a lot of unexplained plots here. Like, for me, I didn't catch every single detail of the K-drama just because there's so much in it. And at points, it's a little hard to understand what's going on because it's like, oh, Big Mouth is this person. Never mind. Oh, it's this person. Never mind. Like, it keeps on changing, so you just don't know who Big Mouth is. And honestly, at one point, it gets a little bit relentless and tiring as to how they don't tell us the answer and they keep misleading us. So it's like, oh, it's not going to be this person because they let us down last time. So I feel like it's a little bit too much of a mystery, but who knows? Maybe mystery lovers might love it. For me, it's not my favorite thing. I don't really like guessing. Just tell me the answer and we'll get it over with is kind of my thing. So the romance between the two main lead characters are so nice. Like, I really, really like their relationship, although we don't get to see it often, even though, like, it's the main thing, kind of. Like, we only see it in the first few episodes and then the last few episodes and throughout the show as well, but you'll be able to see because the main plot is based off of when Changho goes to jail. Now, Changho starts off as a character who's very shy. He's, almost like the foil of Biho, and she almost like is bossy towards him. However, he suddenly like gets into a car accident and then his personality changes 180 degrees and he suddenly gets sent to jail for no reason. And oh my god, this one bang piece will not. Okay, yeah, anyway. He suddenly gets to jail and his personality is just so different. He's suddenly like a completely different person. Like, I honestly don't 100% know what happened here. So if someone would like to explain that, that would be amazing. But yeah. Okay, also, there's also this guy from True Beauty. So I don't know if you guys watch True Beauty, but there is the sister of the main character, and then there's like the teacher. Like, that's the teacher. And the sister and the teacher had a relationship. I really loved their ship back in True Beauty. That was my favorite ultimate ship. Now that I think about it, I feel like I do like side characters often, or side ships. Anyway, the teacher from True Beauty is in this, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. Although his character is very sus. Like, literally, you have to suspect every single character in the show because you truly just do not know who Big Mouth is gonna be. They go, oh, is it the main character? Is it Chango? No, no, no. Is it Bihu? Is it Bihu's dad? Who's like the most innocent person ever? Like, you have to really, really be suspicious of every single person, and that gets a little tiring because you just cannot trust who, and it's almost scary knowing that you just don't know who Big Mouth is gonna be. And the ending honestly was not the best. I was not like, oh, that's him, because at that point I was just tired. I just was like, I just want to know who is Big Mouth, you know? Yeah. And you guys know I really, really hate dark, really sad K dramas, but this is exactly what that is. It's incredibly heavy, and there are like the rare lighthearted moments as well as any K drama does, but those parts are the moments that I live for and definitely the ones that I did not skip. However, when it got too dark, a little too political in a sense, I immediately skipped it. Like when it comes to the part about the NR Forum, which is basically a bunch of rich people, rich men to be specific, and they basically control the entire political state of Korea, is kind of how it's depicted here. That part gets a little bit too much for me, and I feel like it's just not my thing. It gets very, very, I don't know how to describe it honestly. Dystopian almost is how I would describe it. And like, I'm not too interested in politics as well, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, there's parts where I'll literally be crying my eyes out, bawling, and then there's also parts where I'll be laughing. So if you guys like that balance, go for it. Honestly, for me, it was just really sad because when it gets to ending, now this is gonna be have spoilers. She essentially gets sick because of her personality almost, because like I said, she's a very confident person. She isn't afraid to help people. She isn't afraid to say what she wants to say, and if she wants to do something, she'll take action no matter what her husband or her father says. And that's kind of what she does here in this one situation where she's basically trying to help someone escape almost, and there's like basically bad gas around. I don't recall the exact whatever she inhaled, but she inhaled something bad, and basically she gets pneumonia, I believe it is, and she gets really sick, and she's gonna die basically. And there's flashbacks to their past, like how they met, and it's so sad. Oh my god, I was crying, guys. Just thinking about it makes me cry now. So if you wanna watch really sad K-drama, here you go. I honestly just skipped the political parts and got to the parts where it was actually talking about Bihu and Changho's relationship, because that's what I'm interested in. Like, I don't care about the other stuff. I just want to know their stuff. And there's actually a lot of brutal things in here. It's very explicit. Like a lot of death, which a lot of blood, and it's really, really brutal. Like, I had to skip some parts because it was a little bit too much. There's a lot of dying and characters that are pretty relevant to the plot as well. And like, yeah, that's the case though. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even try to guess who Big Mouth was because I was so invested in their relationship rather than the mystery in itself. There were like people who wrote essays about who Big Mouth was going to be, and I was just like, guys, let's leave the inquiries to real life. Like, I'm not gonna try and guess who it is, and that was that. The ending, honestly, I really hated it because, spoiler, she dies, and there's a lot of plot holes almost, like that weren't resolved. Like there's this part where this lady, she's the husband or the wife of a really rich guy, surprise surprise, and her name is Tijin. I don't know if you guys know her, but when she dies, like it was just so out of nowhere, and her it was just never mentioned again essentially. Like Miho, as she dies, she doesn't know that Hejin died because of murder, because of her husband. None of that is resolved, and I feel like that's so frustrating to me because I just want to have some kind of resolve to these characters, especially if they died for no reason. You've got to tell us why they died. That's kind of my opinion on this. Okay, so now going a 180 on the genre of these K dramas is going to be the Level Up Project. Now, the Level Up Project is season 5, and it's basically a show where Red Velvet goes on a trip and they basically share their experiences. It's like just a very lighthearted show. It's not even a K drama, to be honest. I just wanted to add here because I personally really, really enjoyed it. Speaking of which, I did not rank or rate Big Mouth. So I'm gonna give Big Mouth, oh, I don't know. The good parts are really good, but then the bad parts are really bad. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah. But to be honest, some parts are really boring and slow. But then at the same time, some parts are very cinematical and worth watching. So it's up to you. I feel like it just wasn't the match for me. Okay, moving on back to Level Up Project. The timing of this release was really, really weird because now Revolve's having a comeback here in November, but that was uploaded almost like, I don't know, I want to say September, October ish. And it was just like a really weird season where no one was coming back. I think Solgi's comeback wasn't the proper timing for that either. It's kind of odd. And it was like summer, spring kind of base, but then they release it at this point, like fall, which I think is just really weird. I've literally been watching them, or I watched them through YouTube, and they like delete it after 24 hours. Like this random person that uploads these, they delete it right after, probably because of copyright. So I didn't watch all of the entire episodes, but I did watch every single one of them. I actually did catch up on 7 and 8. Yes. Oh no no no. I didn't watch 3 and 4 until way later, but I did end up watching all of the episodes, so do not worry. So 7 and 8, I think, are the best episodes. It just made me really laugh a lot. And they decided their rooms, and they had a bunch of games. And I feel like it's just like the small things that matter. Like these kind of, I don't know, lighthearted shows are honestly sometimes more entertaining than something like Big Mouth, which is very heavy and almost weighs down on you and your emotions. But this one, it just makes you much more happier, and it just really reminded me of the times in like grade 8 where I used to watch Level Up season, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 or 4, and I was just really enjoying it, and it just brought me back to those junior high days where I really, really was obsessed with Red Velvet. And although I'm not as obsessed of them as I am now, I still really, really like the show, and almost brought me back to those days. So it was really nice. Yeah. So, I feel like it's just like very nostalgic in a sense, but also at the same time, it's like, oh my god, that happened. You know, there's like some catchphrases that Red Velvet made that I totally forgot about. And I was like, oh, that was a thing. Yeah, and they also like play their old songs in the car, like while driving, and it's just so nostalgic in the best way possible. I feel like this is one of the parts where I'm like, oh my god, I'm glad I'm in this fandom because it's just like a really happy fandom to be a part of. Revelovs are generally known for being very happy, although not existent and lacking streaming, but I feel like that's better than being a super toxic fandom and being overwhelmingly. Ugh, I'm not blink. Oops, it came out. I'm sorry, man. Okay, yeah. Some parts made me laugh a lot, and it was mainly laughing, but some parts also made me really, really sad because they were talking about their old self and how they progressed as individuals. And I feel like it just tells you how I've also grown as well, because back then, although it wasn't that long ago when I first started watching Level Up Project, like I'm a completely different person as to the person that's watching Level Up season 5 now, and I feel like that's so emotional. And there was like this scene in the restaurant where they were just talking about that, and it was just so emotional. I was just crying. Like when you realize that you've been with them for like 4 years now, although it doesn't seem long, it just like how life has changed. I feel like it does seem long if you reference that. Anyway, on that note, let's move on to the very next or the last K-drama. Actually, we forgot to rate them. Okay, so Level Up Project, I give it an 8.5 out of 10 because obviously it's not a K-drama, so I can't give it that high of a rating. Like the plot is just them on a trip, you know, what complexity can it bring to this world? But that's that. Let's move on to 20th Century Girl. I started watching this because it was all over my TikTok and everyone was crying. So I was like, huh, I know I'm not gonna be crying. I was just kidding. Yeah, I knew that I was gonna cry. I knew that it was sad, but if everyone was talking about it, obviously I had to watch it. And I was not gonna watch it until like December because, you know, I thought it was one of those really long K dramas, but it wasn't. It actually only was a movie and it's about 2 hours long. So only worth 2 hours of your life. Like if you think about it compared to like 15 episodes where it's like 7 to 15 hours, crazy long, not my thing. So I just decided to watch it on the spot. And it's basically like a set in the 19th century, I want to no, not the 19th century. Oh my goodness. No. It was set in like 1995, somewhere near there, 1999, somewhere in that area, and it's kind of like a romance drama, very lighthearted until it gets to the really sad stuff, where everyone is crying. I cried a lot. Like my entire family watched this, not together, but like individually. And I was the one that cried so much. My sister, a literal sociopath. She doesn't cry at all. I mean, she cries when watching other things, but she didn't cry for this, which I think is crazy because I was like frantically crying when I was watching this. So, the K drama starts out very lighthearted. It's very romance, and the scenes here are so pretty, like the lighting, the coloring, and the director is actually a woman, and she shares her experience of actually basing this K drama or this movie. I need to stop saying K drama. Basing this movie off of her own experiences from her childhood, and I feel like that really, really showcases well through here because it really shows that dreamy sense of a teenager girl. And I feel like it's perfect for my age range because you can almost relate to it, even though I've never been alive before 2005. I don't know what that experience is like. I still could really relate to it because some things are just so similar to how teenagers are now, I feel like. Yeah. And basically, there's this one girl, and she's the main character. She's played by Kim Yoo Jung, which I'm sure everyone knows of. Now, let me pull up the character list. K drama. Oh no, movie. Oh, I guess they just call it K drama either way. Okay, so Da Bora. Yeah, that's her name. Bora is the main character. She has this friend, and her name is Yeondu. And those two are really, really close friends. However, Yeondu goes to America, I think it was. I don't know where in America. We all thought it was New York, but it isn't, apparently. But yeah, they go to America, or she goes to America because she has a heart issue and she needs to get surgery for it. And she also runs across this guy right before she goes to US, and his name is Hyunjin, or so she thinks. So I'm gonna be, you know, just saying the plot twists here because I have to if I want to reference the thing itself. But basically, she's got the wrong person. So Hyunjin is actually who she thinks of. Hyunjin is actually the other guy who is his friend. And I was actually so confused right before that plot twist because I was like, oh my god, why does she like him? Which it sounds bad, but it's so obvious that Unho, which is basically the guy that she actually likes, she thought his name was Hyunjin, and yeah, I thought he was like the way better character. He was nicer, he's taller, he's generally like I don't know, he just really gives oh I'm a K drama man character kind of vibe. I honestly could not tell the two dudes apart initially, which I don't even know why they look so different. And I really didn't like Hyunjin in itself because he just has like this very like oh I'm superior than you kind of attitude, and yeah, he's kind of the root of all the problems. I don't know why, but initially I really, really did not like his character. And then I started watching like interviews of these four characters, like I guess like the actors and the actresses. And I really like his personality in real life. So his acting was really good because he made me really annoyed in the movie, but in real life he's like an angel. So that's that. Yeah, I could really not stop smiling when I saw Unho and Bora together because, you know, Yeondu thinks she likes Hyunjin, but she actually likes Unho. But Bora doesn't know that, so she ends up liking Unho, and they're like a thing. And their ship is so cute. We honestly don't get a lot of scenes with them together as dating. Like, I don't think they even date at one point. Like, they don't know they like each other until a certain point, which we'll get to later on because it's a little bit depressing. But the plot twist really, really killed me a little. I feel like it's a little bit ironic how the friend almost broke her heart, lost her heart, you could say. And that plot twist happens of her figuring out that, you know, her friend basically likes the guy she likes. And Bora can't do anything about it, even though she knows that both of them like Unho because she can't break her heart again when it's just been fixed. I know, so poetical in a sense. I don't know, but the screenwriting is amazing. I just love this movie so much. I feel like I overanalyzed some things, but it's so worth watching. And I'm sure you guys know what rank I'll give it or rating I'll give it, but it's so good. It's so good. Every detail I understood so well, and it's not even like I feel like it's simple, but in the best sense ever. Like, you guys know I love simplicity when it comes to K dramas or even movies. I have to understand it well so that, you know, I can almost relate to it. I don't really relate to this, but it's so sad. Yeah. Yeah, the plot is just set up without any plot holes. And I feel like when K-drama scriptwriters try to go above and beyond. They miss a lot of things. They don't conclude a lot of things. And this is not the case for this K-drama. Because it's quite simple in a sense, it's hard to miss any things, and things like, I don't mean to compare because they're so different, but Big Mouth and 20th Century Girl, you can really see how the plot resolved itself really nicely. And I feel like there's also one thing that people will mention because I'm gonna get into it later. So yeah. Okay, so then there comes the actual ending where it's really, really sad. He has to go back to, I think it was either Australia or New Zealand, somewhere there, and they figure out that they like each other. Oh, it's so sad. And it shows us perspective from him, from Unho himself, and it's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. Like, cause he just liked her, and he thought that she liked his friend, but that's not really the case. I feel like I don't want to over explain it for you guys so you can really enjoy it for yourselves. But I feel like the moral of this K-drama or this movie is that honesty is the best policy. If you're not honest with others, there's going to be more problems that arise in the future. So just be honest in the present so you don't suffer in the future and face your consequences, because you're just making the matters a lot more complex. You're almost like pushing it off to the side when really you could just address it as it is right now. I think that's the moral here. Also, there's this one part where he dies. Man dies. Why? I don't know, man. And then it goes to this future where, Nabura is played by another actress, and actually her acting was really good because it made me cry. And she basically watches like a video of their footage together, basically like a film that Unho made. So sad, guys. It's so sad. That part made me cry so much because he's dead. We don't know why, and she's just thought that he just ghosted her, and that's that. And she couldn't move on from him either. And then now she realizes he's dead. How heartbreaking is that? Like, you just think for, I don't know, 10, 20 years, like a couple of decades, thinking that someone you love so much just completely forgot about you, completely ignored you, and then you realize that. I feel like that's just so sad. And you might say it's a little cliche, but it's just cliche in the best way ever, almost. Yeah, I know I'm like so rooting for this movie, but it's really a good movie, and I just think it's an overall very precious film. Like, all of the characters are so precious, and they're like very like innocent and pure in the sense that, people their age would be. And I feel like it's lighthearted but also really sad. I don't know. And eventually there's some scenes that hint at Hyunjin and Yeondu being together, like the girl or the guy that she thought she liked. Anyway, there's some hints of them dating, and I feel like a part 2 to this movie would really, really be nice, because I got obsessed with this K-drama, or this movie, and then I started watching all of the interviews on it, which was probably longer than the movie itself, and Hyunjin's character was talking about a part 2 to the movie, and I was like, oh my god, sign me up, because I would love to see that, honestly. And yeah, this movie's really good, and I thought it was really worth the hype. And if you want to watch a really short, not really short, 2 hours is kind of long if you think about it, but if you put it to perspective, it's really a lot shorter than a K-drama. So if you're interested, definitely watch it. I personally would go for it, even if you actually, if you hate romance, maybe this isn't the thing for you, but I cannot relate to you hating romance. I don't know, I feel like just romance movies just hit different. K-dramas too. Yeah. And a lot of people actually compared it to 2521 because it's almost the same in the sense that it's about romance. It's about um, like it's about romance, and the ending is a little bit similar in the sense that they do not get together in different ways, but the vibe is a little bit similar as well because it's set in that time right before the 2000s. And I'm going to be so honest here. I feel like this will offend some of you guys, but personally, I found 2521 to be a little bit boring in a sense compared to this movie. And I feel like it's mainly because it's a show. It drags on for a little bit longer. There's plots where you're not that interested in. And I feel like it was really exciting in the beginning, 2521, and then it kind of slowed down. And that's like the thing with shows. Like, it can't be action-packed from the beginning to the end with no plot holes at all. I mean, there are K-dramas like that. Like, I don't know. It's Okay Not to Be Okay. Like, you guys already know I love that K-drama with all my heart. But yeah, I feel like this movie is so much easier to be invested in because it's only 2 hours and the plot line is way better to follow, and you really understand the characters' feelings. I feel like that's the biggest problem with 2521. I just could not understand their feelings sometimes because they're like, so do you want to get together? Do you prioritize this over this? I just couldn't tell because it wasn't very communicated well, and I feel like that's why I started to lose interest. And the ending didn't hit me at all. Like, I didn't even cry for the ending, and I know everyone is heartbroken over that. However, it didn't hit me that hard. Oh my god, I get texts. Wait a sec. Okay, so sorry. I just got distracted. It's not for fun, guys. I just don't text for fun. Ugh, this is so sad. My sister always makes fun of me because I have no friends. Oh my god, have you guys ever touched like this part of your eye? Like the my mom is calling me. Anyway, um uh I'll try to wrap this up really quickly. Okay, so oh yes, the ending shook me up. I wasn't prepared for something that tragic and sad. But the producers, writers, directors, all of them are so amazing. I've really got to give it to them. So that is it. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. You guys already expected this, but if you guys would like to see more K-drama reviews, let me know which K-dramas to watch so I can watch in a jiffy, kind of like this one. Like, movies are definitely fine, or short K-dramas with not a lot of episodes. That would be really nice. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.